Hello. Hey, Nadya, how are you?
Hey, good.
Good, all right. As she mentioned before, I'm here with Nadya. She's the creator of Pussy Riot, which is a protestive art collective, or however you might want to define it. But I guess to start things off, the topic is of NFT activism, and you've been in the space for a little while, since 2021, as you mentioned, backstage. I'm curious what got you into NFTs and why you decided to use this medium to get your vision out there, for both Pussy Riot and yourself.
I was bored. It was the pandemic times. I had nothing to do. I couldn't perform, couldn't travel, couldn't organize protests, riots, revolutions. So everything was out of the picture. And I had to do something that is I can do in front of my computer. And NFTs, it was a good option. I discovered metaverse, digital goods, and NFTs as a tool for activism. The first drop I've done raised money for the shelter for victims of domestic violence in Dagestan, which is a region close to Chechnya. You probably heard about the movie Welcome to Chechnya. And ever since, we helped communities who are underrepresented or in direct danger, like Ukrainians today, to improve their situation using NFTs as a tool.
Yeah, and you were also recently put on Russia's most wanted list, and in the release with your name in it, they referenced one of the NFTs you recently made that was of the Virgin Mary, and it says, "Virgin Mary, please become a feminist," and there was an image of a vagina. And I mean, obviously you're not one who's afraid of any of this. If you guys can't see, she's got a penis on her necklace up here. But I guess—
2 of them.
Yeah, you gotta be yourself. But obviously being on Russia's most wanted list is a pretty big deal. So what does this mean for you moving forward in terms of your art and also just protecting yourself?
I'm not known for protecting myself. I care about others. And I don't know, there should be a DNA missing that when it comes to protection of myself, but it helps me to be better activist, and it gives me a bigger voice because I do not really care what's going to happen with me tomorrow. Plus, also there is a big advantage of being Pussy Riot. I created and ideated the movement, our core principles, but because anyone can be Pussy Riot, this is one of the core principles of Pussy Riot. It's an open movement, so if something happens with me tomorrow, if I'm jailed or murdered, other people can join Pussy Riot. And it makes my activism much more urgent. I live every day as my last one, and in my case, it's a little bit more than just a phrase. My ex-husband was practically murdered. He survived an assassination attempt by the Russian government. My friend Alexei Navalny survived another assassination attempt. He is in Russian jail currently, really, really struggling. So, life is not easy, but it all just comes down to the question that you ask yourself every day. If you believe that just one person can change something in the world, and I believe that, yes, we can, if we refuse to fear and we just want to tell the truth. And those two things they're two guiding stars for me.
I don't even know how to follow that up. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. You recently launched an NFT collection called Utopia, and a portion of the sales go to a check-in organization for LGBTQIA, to help them. And so I guess my question here for you is how did that come about? And you were kind of talking about even if you were to pass tomorrow, Pussy Riot would live on without you. Is this kind of part of that image too? Like where if people were to buy these NFTs and the proceeds go towards this organization, that it's basically like keeping this momentum alive?
We built a pink church of feminism in the metaverse. We created it together with IMVU, launched this partnership called Utopia. And this is the first step of fulfilling my dream to build a pink church of feminism eventually in real life. But the first step is metaverse, and metaverse has this good quality of being immaterial. Just like performance art, it is immaterial and it lasts longer than anything physical, hopefully, if there is one last server left after the apocalypse. People still can, if they're alive, they still can go and experience Utopia in metaverse. Utopia is a really important word and concept for me because I believe that we should think about alternative futures that we can create today with our decisions. Literally with my decisions throughout this day, I can create many alternative futures, and some of them will suck, some of them will be amazing, and Utopia is not singular. Everyone has their own utopias, but we should proactively imagine them. The problem is that our current news cycle traps us in this 24 hours hell of discussing what's the latest in Trump investigation or stuff like that. It's cool, it's fun, it's like funny sometimes, but it doesn't help us to build longer term model for our universe. And that's what we are attempting to do here, to project our longer term goals, aspirations, dreams, and well, there are two important steps to be done: to dream and to fight for your dreams and make them come true.
You just referenced like modern things that we're dealing with today, whether it be like news cycle things that we see every day. But I guess why is it so important for NFT activism to exist today? Like where we are in this whole realm of the world, and especially for these marginalized communities that are often just not talked about in general conversations, especially, no offense, but in the NFT world, I feel like it's not a prominent thing. Like people often use NFTs for like speculative value and they just want to like, you know, pump and dump and trade. And you're actually using these NFTs towards something of, I would argue, utility and purpose. But why do you think it's important for this to exist today?
Well, if our grandmothers didn't fight for women's rights 100 years ago, we would not be sitting on this stage. I think it's always important to fight for your rights, and NFTs are just one of the tools. I'm not a maxi when it comes to NFTs. It's good. It's cool because it gives you ownership. I like the concept of digital ownership, and if you look at places like Instagram or Twitter, that can turn into absolute shit show in just one day, as we've seen it happening with Elon and Twitter. You don't own anything, so it means that you don't have a voting power. It all comes down to just one individual and their choices. So with NFTs and digital ownership, that's different. So if our community and our social networks are built on taking in mind this concept of digital ownership, we live in a little bit more democratic digital societies, and that's what I want to see for us. And it's more transparent and comfortable for me as an activist, because I never know what's going to happen with the algorithm tomorrow and on Instagram. But hopefully, if I own as a creator a part of this digital democracy, then I will be able to elect what will be the set of rules that we'll have to obey tomorrow.
All right. How do you kind of see NFT activism going in the future? Like, where do you see it evolving to? Or what would you like to see? I mean, it's hard to predict things, but...
Truly don't know. I can only just talk for myself. Don't really know what's going to happen with the space in general. It's interesting to see us here in the bear market. Definitely totally different energy. I feel like it's important to stay in somehow. It's important to stick to your values. To me, not a lot of things really changed. I'm still push for the same things I've been pushing before. Completely different numbers. Last year it was 7 million. This year it's going to be $7,000 that we're going to be able to raise for charity. But you only can do what depends on you and hope for the best. So yeah, that's probably my answer.
And my last question for you, Nadya, would be, what is your advice for others who might want to do something similar to what you do with NFTs and activism? Like, how can people get involved and do it their own way?
Just build your community. It doesn't have to be big. It can be 5 friends of yours. It's really sad to do it alone. It's possible. Push for it, I guess. Study. Listen to your instincts. Create good art and go for it.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk today, and thank you to everyone for listening in.
Thank you so much for coming.